It's still Business Daily right here on Trust Television. Now we're going into another topic, very critical topic, looking at the pension administration in Nigeria. A lot of events happen in that sector in the outgoing year 2024 there. So we'll look at reviews of some of those events, some of those activities in that industry as it went down in 2024. I'm being joined in the studio by a pension administration and of course Director of Corporate Services at PITAD, Sani Mustapha. Glad to have you on Business Daily today.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, as always, let's begin to look at the pension administration in Nigeria 2024. How will you rate the performance of that sector in the outgoing year?
Well, the performance to me is very good. The National Pension Commission has excelled despite various challenges that came by way of the economy that is undergoing reform, the weakening of the naira, and other challenges. Also, the market also is undergoing reform, the CBN. So the National Pension Commission has really risen up to the task, seeing that the quantum of funds continue to increase. And of course, the value has gone down small, but they are prepared for it.
Talking about the quantum of funds being increasing, we saw the pension assets increasing to over 21 trillion naira in the course of the year. But one thing that people, the retirement contributor are complaining about is the value, like you rightly pointed out. For someone that has maybe 1 or 2 million naira in his pension account at the beginning of the year, if you look at the way naira has depreciated down, that has affected the value of the asset. How do you think the PENCOM should, which measure do you think they should take to ensure that these assets are kept in a way that it retains its value?
Actually, there is one of the ways that the National Pension Commission try to, reduce the burden of this weakening naira is to increase the value of the minimum pension. As the federal government increase the minimum wage, so the minimum pension has now increased from 10,000 naira of the lowest pensioner to about 23,000 some naira attached. So you can see that more money comes to the pensioner. And then if you look at the way the investment structure of the PFAs and the funds, they have what they call reserve funds, which these reserve funds is to compensate for any lowering in value of the funds that are being given as a payout. So these things are being monitored by the National Pension Commission, which I believe they do their things within international best practice.
Indeed, we hope that is will help retain the value of this money for pensioners. But there's also complaint about poor pension payment as well. With some, there was in the course of the year there was an allegation by NUPs. I'm sure you know about that, when they say that a pensioner earn as low as 450 naira to 1,000 naira per month. That is a very huge. I mean, I don't know how to describe that, but that is very ridiculous.
It cannot even pay for the transport for you to go and collect it.
Absolutely.
In Nigeria, I'm sorry to say, there are still some states that have not upped their game in the pension sector. While the federal government is pushing the defined benefit to align with the contributory pension in the way they run it, the states, some states are still paying pension, running their pension commission as if in the 1960s. Those are the states that the pensioners are complaining. But federal government pensioners, they are not complaining. Very recently, this year, the president increased the minimum pension to be 32,000 all around, except for those pensioners of PHCN and those, you know, those are not paid minimum wage.
Yes.
They have a separate salary chart. Yes. But the main civil service and the state with federal share, it has been approved that they will be getting 32,000 minimum. So that way, you know, you look at what is happening in the economy and you help the pensioners. But I'm sorry to say, some states who do not key in to the National Pension Commission oversight are still running pension as if it is the old civil service. Pension now has become a science.
Indeed,
yes.
As well. We hope that something should be done as we go into the new year for pensioners to be able to get a good pay as well. There's also the issue of inflation again that affect pension allowances in the course of the year. So we saw inflation moving from around 21% at the beginning of the year to now 34.6%.
Yes.
This has affected the purchasing power of Nigerians and indeed by extension the pensioners as well. So if you look at the 32,000 naira minimum pension, if you convert it to the value because of the current inflation rate, it's still not enough to take them home.
Yes. Nigeria is a developing country, and inflation is the reality of modern economy. So long as you will allow a free economy that will help you to lift people out of poverty, inflation must be there. But the government is doing everything possible to see that there are mitigation. For example, we know that the inflation will reduce the value of the pension income, and it will also affect the pension returns of the PFAs. So it's like a cycle. But as I said earlier, PENCOM have instituted the capital reserve fund for all PFAs for this kind of eventuality. And the federal government also have increased the minimum pension, which will allow people to purchase more, pending when the economy will stabilize, and then the purchasing power will increase. But in Nigeria, as I said, over time, since the 70s, our salary have been, you know, it's not up to where it should be.
It should be.
So the pension also, which is a factor of salary, will also be below that. But I believe they are doing everything to make sure that this situation do not persist.
Indeed, we need a holistic reform in the economy for us to be able to, for pensioners to be able to get adequate fund as well. Let's also look at issues around using technology and other innovation available for contributors. We know we have over 10 million plus contributors as we speak. What form of technology is available to them for somebody that wants to check how much he has in his pension account, for somebody that wants to contribute using these devices? How much of this technology do you think should be deployed by PENCOM for us to be able to have successful contributions?
Over the years, the whole contributory pension scheme have relied on technology. If you have your phone, the PFAs, you have a direct link to check the value of your funds. You can even, I think, download a mini statement. Then also, from your bank account, you can generate an Excel report and pay your contributions. So, but where I see that this 2025, the National Pension Commission wants to expand the minimum pension scheme and put a lot of technology there, so that people in the market, people that are too busy to remove their uniform and start going to PFA offices, they can, using their phone, pay something into their account. I think that way, if the National Pension Commission can increase this awareness and then make the scalability very easy.
I think that is where the issue is, the lack of education and public awareness.
Oh, yes.
There seems to be a lot of deficits in that regard for PENCOM. What do you think they should do? We have a new DG that came in this year. He's done his bit so far. I don't know what is your assessment of what she has done so far.
The new DG has hit the ground running, as far as I can see. I have her speech with the media, which I saw that she really understood and working towards expanding the minimum pension scheme. Because really, that is where the future is. The more you capture the informal sector, the more the health of the contributory pension scheme is. And also, the informal sector will now include themselves into the financial schemes. You understand? I think the new DG should include this media integration into the National Pension Commission activities, and then ensure that monthly for the next 12 months there is an activity where people are invited to know more about the minimum pension scheme.
Yes. Indeed, you talk about the informal sector. I was coming there. There's so much effort in the outgoing year to include a lot of people in the informal sector. How much of a success do you think that has recorded, given the fact that getting the record of these people is always not easy?
Not much. Not much. I think we have to put our thinking cap and really go back to the drawing table. The minimum pension did not get the traction we envisage it will get. So I believe this is where the new DG will make her mark, because there are more informal sector than the formal sector. If she can get all these people keen into the contributory pension, then she would have made a lot of input into the progress of the scheme.
Indeed, we hope that change in 2025. Let's begin to look at the outlook now for pension industry in the coming year. Of course, this is the last day of 2024. By tomorrow, we'll be stepping into 2025. What sort of innovation, what sort of changes do you expect to see in the pension industry in 2025?
The changes I would like to see is this merger of some of the PFAs, because you will need a lot of capital now to run a PFA. So, and the synergy will be brought to bear into the next 10 years of the contributory pension scheme. There will be some innovations. There will be a lot of use of very costly technology, software, things like that. And it will be good for Nigerians that have the capital to really, merge. Those that are running the PFAs, they should merge to create bigger PFAs.
Indeed, talking about merger, there is the merger between ARM, talking about ARM pension managers, and of course the Access Pensions Limited. How much of a success do you think that has been so far?
It is very successful. All these two PFAs are run by professionals, and you should know that the National Pension Commission is always there, checking and supervising. No move can be made by any PFA without clearing with the National Pension Commission. And I believe that it is going to be a success.
Look, there are other pension administrators as well. I don't want to begin to mention their names. How much of regulatory role do you think the PENCOM is playing over them? Because I've received a lot of complaints from some of the contributors to those pension PFAs. So how much of regulatory role do you think the PENCOM should play over them in 2025? Do you think there is proper supervision at the moment?
The supervision should be increased, and then it should be brought down, because over there at the top, investment, placement, stock market relationship, there is not much problem. But down there with the individual contributors, there are 1 or 2 areas where people complain, where they reach out to their PFA and nobody comes back to them. So I think that is where the regulatory supervision should try to reach out. The National Pension Commission have zonal offices. I think those zonal officers should be given oversight functions to, you know, relate with individual customers in their areas, whereby whatever they applied or look for information, they can escalate it to those zonal offices for follow-up.
Indeed, we hope that that regulatory framework will indeed be properly applied in the year 2025 as we approach it. Let's finally now, as we wrap up the program now, what should be your message to pensioners who have in a way maybe just changed, or in a way not really, you know, getting adequate I mean, talking about the performance of the PFAs now, not getting adequate support from there. What do you think should be your message to them as we wrap up, of course, the conversation ahead of 2025?
The relationship between a pensioner and a PFA is a legal relationship. I will advise pensioners to always escalate whatever they have issue, whenever they have issue, to the National Pension Commission. And the pensioners should belong to unions, because unions have a say, so that if a pattern is created where a PFA is maltreating its retirees or pensioners, then they should escalate it to the National Pension Commission. And I know National Pension Commission does not play with any complaint. I can assure you that.
All right. So you have more to say, sir?
Yeah, the pensioners should always, what I said, belong to pension unions, and also try to escalate any complaint to the National Pension Commission.
All right, that's a very good way to wrap up the conversation, and indeed the year as well on Business Daily. I must thank you. Sani Mustapha is the Pension Administrator and of course Director of Corporate Services at PITAD. I must thank you for your time on Business Daily today. We appreciate your contributions.
Thank you.
All right, well, that is a wrap on the show for today and of course for the year. By tomorrow we'll begin the conversation around 2025. Thanks for watching. I am Yusuf Akogu.